So what's next after the slightly flat end to mission 40? What's next on the agenda for me? Today I'm just going to have a quick look ahead, following on from Tuesday's kind of changes vlog, go through what I'm going to be doing next project, next series, and the changes I'm going to make in terms of my training, slightly on the back of that disappointing end to mission 40. Let's get into the episode and cover what's next for me. So yeah, those that follow along or watch the channel for long enough know that the plan was always to increase the structure, the intensity and the specificity of my training. Started off with mission 40 as a 10k focused series. I felt the block went pretty well, a couple of ups and downs, but generally I feel pretty fit. I had no real injuries or niggles to worry about, and the only disappointing bit was at the end when I didn't actually manage to get the time trial finished. Probably could have done, should have done, something to reflect back on. But I was talking to someone, I think it was on Strava or YouTube or whatever, and it was just on the back of physically I maybe prepared myself, but mentally maybe not. Maybe I'm weaker mentally than I am physically right now. That's something again to work on, to look at and maybe build on going forwards. But also I think I pushed myself pretty close to, not to the limit, but when I'm engaged with something in terms of structure, I'm kind of all in. There's no real room for enjoyment or freedom to flex too much. I do adapt things, but not too much. So what's next? The plan was always to roll into a half marathon series, knowing that I've got the marathon block to come from kind of midsummer onwards, ready for an autumn marathon in Chester, a rerun of that race from 2 years ago, which was my first ever marathon. So the plan was always half marathon, and again I don't want to change things too much, so I will be rolling into a half marathon series. However, first, I think I put on a run a few weeks ago or last week, a bit of a deload or reset was required. So yeah, in terms of listening to the body, listening to the head, I think I need a little bit of a reset first. So this week's been a bit of a float maintenance week in terms of mileage. I was hoping to try and get that rerun done at the time trial, but again, various reasons, but I wasn't really in a position to give it a solid effort, so I've not bothered. I've calmed down a little bit now since that last kind of review of that mission 40 time trial. I was obviously disappointed, didn't get it finished, but I'm not really as concerned now. It was what it was. I stopped for a reason. Maybe I wasn't, like I said, ready on the day or prepared or whatever. But yeah, a bit of a deload next week is the plan. Maybe slightly reduced running, slightly reduced intensity as a deload, recovery, reset, whatever you want to call it. And then I will roll into a half marathon training block as scheduled. I've already planned the training, be about 7-8 weeks long, again similar to mission 40. And again, the bet I've made this year is no races on the back of it. I felt like I boxed myself in a little bit last year, like most people do, but you do the training block and then you put a bit too much pressure on yourself on race day. So I've decided to go down a route of no races other than the marathon. So yeah, I've decided to title this one half-time series, because obviously one, it's time for a half marathon focus, but two, in terms of a play on words, half-time being a mini break from the intensity of the normality of, say, a sporting occasion. So I'm still going to have the structure, but maybe I'm going to reduce the intensity slightly. I'll have slightly less pressure on myself in terms of hitting every single one of the training sessions, training goals, training paces. That's just on the back of the mission 40 end. In terms of that, intensity was obviously useful, and I don't want to like lose all of it and the training becomes less valuable and less kind of beneficial. But I'm also aware that I've got to go straight into a marathon training block. So this half marathon block will precede a mini or an early family holiday in terms of late May, early June, and then as soon as I get back from that, I'm straight into marathon training, which I think is about 15-16 weeks long. So I'm aware I don't want to go into that feeling jaded, fatigued. So yeah, the half-time series will still follow the training schedule I'd already pre-planned from the start of the year. finalise it on the back of Mission 40. In terms of the training will be slightly longer, half marathon focused, not quite as short and sharp as the 10k training was, but similar structure, easy run, long run, speed work and tempo or threshold work, maybe slightly more focus on threshold, and that will remain, maybe just obviously just slightly less pressure and slightly less kind of stress on me in terms of hitting every single one. And obviously there'll be no weekly training recaps. All my training will stay on Strava if you want to follow along on that, but I'm going to just put a bit less pressure on myself in terms of logging there and filming the weekly recaps. During the series I'll take the camera out, I will document and capture some of the training sessions, so whether it be tempo or threshold or intervals or hill reps, something like that, I'll get the camera out and I'll capture those sessions as part of the series so you guys can see what I'm doing, but I'll also enable myself to get some of the runs in I've been wanting to do for a while, not been able to do. I'll definitely be doing more trail running, get back on the trails now the weather's getting a bit drier. I'll enable myself to do some runs that didn't fit in with the training programme. Like I said, it's that kind of medium between still training hard, I still want to improve, I still want to get better as a runner, but it's that balance between that and still enjoying my running and making sure mentally I'm not overdoing it and physically I'm not overdoing it. Like I said, so far mileage wise this is still my biggest mileage year yet, and maybe that's why I'm starting to hit that kind of ceiling or threshold in terms of mental fatigue, motivation dipping a little bit, so I don't want to lose that altogether. So maybe a little reset now, bit of a deload, slightly less pressure on this next block, and hopefully that'll stand me in good stead ready for marathon training. So that's the basic plan. Like I said, I think a recovery deload is required. All my core ROS data at the minute is showing I'm slightly fatigued, all my runs are less than optimal, so maybe my legs and not just my head is a bit jaded, so I'm going to heed the warnings, listen to myself and not just plough on blindly and then get even more demotivated and enjoy my running even less. So like I said, I will redo the 10k time trial at some point. Again, I was kind of pressurising myself to get it done as quick as I could, make sure I utilise the benefit of all the training I did for Mission 40. That was the whole aim, but yeah, hit the time trial, wasn't the finish line, wasn't the end goal. It was just going to be a mark of where the training had got me, and that's still the case, but obviously now I'm going to go into more training. It's not vitally important I get it done right now. Hopefully as I progress again into the next block and the next block, I'll continue to get fitter anyway, so it would have been nice to hit a PB. I probably was on for a PB, but again, mentally for whatever reason, the barriers came up and I just decided to stop. But yeah, we'll get it redone at some point, but again, I want to make sure I'm in a position where I can give myself a bit of justice in terms of not just doing it again for the sake of it. So that's the basic plan, and that's the look ahead. So yeah, look out for upcoming training vlogs. I'll go into that half-time series and I'll be a bit more focused on half marathon, but I'll also be doing some more trail running. I'll get some hints and tip vlogs in, and various other things that I've wanted to try and get around to doing but couldn't with the structure and kind of condensed nature of the Mission 40 training and recapping and the weekly vlogs and like I said, the schedule of all that. So that on top of it, in terms of the running schedule, that'll stay fairly consistent, but maybe the intensity will drop or the pressure will drop. And similarly with the vlogs, I'll still get out the vlogs, but following on from the Tuesday, so the Wednesday changes vlog, I've changed the publication date slightly since kind of last month, just to try and get a bit of pressure off myself in terms of the vlogging as well. So like I say, it's all about balance, enjoyment with improvement. Hopefully I'll get that right going forward. But as always, thank you for your support, thank you for watching, hope your running's going well. Shout out to everyone that did the Manchester Marathon today. I think it's Boston tomorrow, so I'm filming this on Sunday evening just to get a recovery run in. But yeah, well done all the Manchester Marathon runners and finishers. And my Strava lit up again with many people finishing it with great times, so I'll revisit the marathon later in the year for my second ever. But yeah, well done to all those. Good luck towards those running Boston tomorrow. and I'll see everyone on the next one.